My name is Dr. Christy Morgan, and I am the Arizona Director for Candle Wishes in Phoenix, Arizona.
My name is Jenny Williams. I'm the founder and executive director of the Candle Wishes Foundation. I just really felt this burden come over me for these kids.
Children mean a lot. You never want a child to grow up feeling like they're not loved.
God put this on my heart to want to give these children happy birthdays.
This foundation just touched my heart, so I knew that this was something that I needed to do.
Okay, y'all, I'm not gonna ugly cry. This is terrible.
There was a time in our life where we struggled. There was a time in our life where we lived paycheck to paycheck. One time when we first moved down to Phoenix, a friend of ours, even at Christmas time, paid for my son to have a picture. Paid to have a picture of our son sitting on Santa's lap, and I couldn't afford it because we had just moved across the country. And so that's always stuck with me. If you would love to sponsor a child, if you would like to throw a birthday party, if you would like to just volunteer,
we need your help. Reach out to us so that we can connect and make our community a better place.
Hey, good morning and welcome to Breakthrough Walls. I'm Ken Walls and I'm your host. And listen, if you can't tell, I am traveling. So I'm doing this. This is the show on the road. But listen, make sure you go support Dr. Christy Morgan's Candle Wishes of Arizona. Look her up on Facebook. Look up the page. Follow her. Support it. It's a great cause for kids. So listen, today I have a very special guest on. The guy is, I heard part of his story and on a Facebook somewhere, I don't know where, and this dude is freaking awesome. So I just want to go ahead and bring Bill Hav on the show. Bill, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you so much, brother. I'm flattered that you had me on, and I'm ready to share my story and hopefully inspire a couple people.
Well, dude, that's what this is about. You know, I made this show to give back, you know, to help people, because I think that people hit these walls in life and they, or, you know, they get stuck and they don't know what to do. And so, you know, I think that if you know, we can share our stories, it helps other people. They grow as a result. So, you know, let's start out with telling, and can everybody hear me and Bill okay? Let me know if there's any issues, if you would. So
check 1 2, check 1 2.
Yep, I hear you, dude. I hear you. So I've got these cool AirPods in, man. Look like I have cigarettes hanging out of my ears. So, but anyway, hey, so let's talk about, let's tell everybody where, and I just heard one of them is dying on me here. So, I may have to just switch to the computer, but let's tell everybody where you're from. Let's start there.
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Allentown, Pennsylvania. I know it has exactly 826,178 people because I Google it every single year because I want to know how many potential people I can sell a car to. So I'm in a very populated area compared to some. So I'm very fortunate to have grown up here my whole life and know a lot of people in the area. I should, because I grew up here. So when it comes to me selling cars, it definitely benefits me to have grown up here and lived here basically my whole life.
Wow. So, and where, you said Allentown?
Allentown, Pennsylvania.
And yep. Whereabouts is that in relation to?
It's about an hour and a half north of Philly.
Okay. So you're way over there. So that's close to New York, right?
Dude, I'm close to everything. I'm close to New York. I'm close to Jersey Shore. I'm close to Atlantic City. I'm close to everything. You name it, I'm close to it. Philly's an hour and a half away, you know, so I'm in a prime time location.
So let's talk about, you know, growing up. What was life like for you growing up as a kid?
Yeah, so I mean, growing up as a kid, I always thought that I had the greatest life ever, but now looking back as I'm older, you know, it definitely was tough. In and out of school, I mean, I was definitely a troubled child in school, got into a lot of trouble, got into a lot of fights, I hung out with a stupid crowd. And, actually in ninth grade, I was 14 years old. My dad ended up going to prison for for 20 to 40 years. So shortly
Jeez.
after that, I ended up, he was in jail my whole life for the most part. My mom was pregnant with me, and he ended up getting caught selling a kilo of cocaine to an undercover cop. And then he ran, had like a 3-state chase. He got shot, by the cops and all this crazy, crazy stuff. So I wasn't even born yet.
Jeez.
And, I was like 6 years old when he got out. And I remember going to the courthouse with him I met him in the courthouse. And I was about 6 years old. He ended up going to jail again. So I was like 12 years old when I built a relationship with him, and I started going to his house. He was doing good, had his own business, and a roofing business. And from 12 to 14, we kind of bonded. I have 4 brothers and sisters with him. So he has 5 kids total. And my mother has 2, me and my sister. So it was like 2 lives I lived for about 2 years there. I'd go to his house. I'd be at my mom's house. And we built a really good relationship. He did a really good job being a dad for those 2 years. But when I was 14, he ended up going to jail for 20 to 40 years because he had a rap sheet like crazy. So it was one more strike, and he was getting the books thrown at him. So he literally did. And, I was 14 when that happened. So at the time, you don't think it really affects you. I shrugged it off, but obviously now, 12 years later, looking back, I got in a lot of fights in school and, just didn't care about things. And I ended up going to jail actually when I was 18, but due to that. So, it was a rough childhood, but my mom did a very good job. She always had 2 and 3 jobs, but at the same time, when you work 2 and 3 jobs as a parent, you can't really keep a close eye on your kids. So I got to do a lot of what I wanted, and, it wasn't good freedom at such a young age.
Wow, dude. So, holy crap. So is he still in jail, I guess?
Yeah,
20 to
he's
40?
still in
Yeah.
jail to this day. I don't even know how long he has left. It's just out of sight, out of mind. I've done it this long without him. So, truthfully now, it really does not have any effect on me, on my mindset at least. It affects my life, but it does, I don't look at it in any negative way at all. It is what it is. I know it's cliche, but it doesn't bother me one bit anymore.
So like you don't like go see him on Father's Day?
No, man. I went to see him in state prison one time when I was 15, and it's so crazy, man, because me and my mom, we like had to uncrinkle these dollar bills and stick them in this machine for coins to buy him food. And they did this hand swab test, and we came up positive for like heroin or something because it must have been on the money. So like they had this dog. It was a terrible experience. Here I am with my mom, and they do this fingerprint swab stuff. And after I crinkled up the dollar bills to try to get money, that's the only thing I could think of, so they ended up letting and see him still, but it was just a terrible experience. So I haven't went back since.
Wow.
Screw that, man.
Yeah. No, not good for you. So, wow, dude. So you, so let me piece this together. So this happened when you were 14. He went away,
Freshman in high school.
for selling cocaine to an undercover cop.
Well, that was before I was even born, but that was like 3 felonies ago. So he got in trouble now, and they threw the book at him, 3 felonies in California, and you do life. So,
dude, that's
it's not
crazy.
the same here, but.
Okay. So you were 14 when he went away for 20 or 40.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what happened next? Like what happened with you did you get in a lot of trouble then? What happened?
Yeah. So immediately, ninth grade, that happened. And as you know, the court system, it takes like a year, for you to get sentenced and for you to go upstate and do all that stuff. So it was 8th grade when that happened, but 9th grade when he got sentenced. So in between that time, I went through a rough period, like in my head, and in school I got into fights, and I ended up getting expelled from school for getting into 3 fights in 9th grade. It wasn't even out of anger. It was just because that's what I thought was cool. All my friends, it was just so stupid. But I ended up getting sent away to a boot camp for my 10th grade year, and it was in Wellsboro, Pennsylvania. So it's like if Allentown's here, if Pittsburgh's here, it's like right in the middle at the top, right by the border of New York. So I was about 4 hours away from home, and that was one of the best things that ever happened to me. You could go to private school, or I'm sorry, you could go to public school out there. So it was in the middle of nowhere. There was no fences. There was no nothing. Because if you wanted to run away, there was nowhere to go. So I went to public school there. There was like probably 800 kids in the whole high school. I ended up wrestling on a roll. I had to do good. It was a fresh start. None of my same old friends who got in trouble. I had to be, I was very controlled in the sense, to where I couldn't get in trouble even if I tried to, which was great for me at that time. So it was a 6-month program, but when I went out there, man, I would not listen to anybody. I broke every rule there was, and I didn't care. And it was a 6-month program that took me 10 months to get out.
Good Lord.
So I started my 11th grade year back at my high school, and I did good in 11th grade. And then senior year, just same kind of thing, just kind of messed around with my same old friends, got in trouble. I barely graduated high school. I had one teacher who I'll never forget. Her name was Mrs. Wasilko. I gave her such a hard time. I would sleep in her class, and I was just the worst student ever. Always respectful, but I guess not respectful when you're sleeping in their class. But I would never talk bad to her. I would just be disrespectful with my actions. So me and her are very, very to this day now, because when I actually went to jail when I was 18 myself, I ended up writing her a letter and telling her how sorry I was and how I wish I could take that back and treat her with more respect. And she ended up writing me a letter back. And it was, I got the goosebumps right now just telling the story, because that was going to jail. I know I said going to boot camp was one of the best things that ever happened to me, but going to jail was literally the best thing that ever happened to me, because my mindset, my priorities, like just everything about my 18-year-old mind changed. I got out and I was just so appreciative for everything, for like just to smell fresh air and just to be able to call, one of my responsible friends and say, hey, you want to go to the movies, or just anything like that. So it just taught me so much. I spent 14 months in jail at 18 years old for selling weed. I thought it was so cool. And, if all my friends were doing something, I wanted to be the one making money off of it. So all my friends smoked weed. So I was like, well, why not, be the guy to make all the money from it? And, look where that got me. That was a hard lesson learned.
So, oh my God, dude. You spent 14 months in jail at 18 years old.
I should have been in a college dorm room, and I was in a prison cell with Bubba. It was crazy, man.
Oh my God. So, wow, man, that's insane. So but it changed for you while you were in there. Like you had a big paradigm shift.
Yeah, that was huge for me. I mean,
Because,
I thought it was
dude,
so cool.
and I just want to make a point. Like the recidivism rate is incredibly high in this country, right? So, but you weren't going to be one of them.
Mm-mm.
You're like, I'm not coming back to this. Like, it
No,
ain't
no way,
happening.
man. No way. As cool as I
Wow.
thought I was, as much of a hot shot as I thought I was, I go into jail as a little 18-year-old white boy. Who the hell am I? And I learned real quick, that this is not a place where you want to be. I always thought, I can go to jail. Who cares? That's not that bad, And then you go to
Right.
jail and it's like, there's no more mommy. There was never a daddy, but there's no more daddy to save me. Nobody can save me.
Dude,
I made my bed, now I have to lay in it, literally.
that is insane, man. So, did you start reading any material, anything while you were in jail? Did you have any, like,
Oh yeah.
it sounds like you had some time on your hands.
Yeah, I had a ton of time on my hands. I probably read 100 books while I was in there, but my favorite book that stuck out to me was Josh Hamilton's book. I don't know if you're familiar with him. He last played for the Los Angeles Angels, but when he wrote the book, he played for the Texas Rangers. And, he was actually a crackhead, and he lived in a trailer park, and he was the #1 draft pick, did all these crazy things, but he persevered and he got through life. And he wrote a book just telling his story. That I got the goosebumps again, bro, because that book, it was literally the turning point of my life where I read that book and I was like, man, if this guy can do it, so can I.
Dude, that's crazy. So, what happened when you got out of jail? Let's talk about that. So you were 19, right?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
You got out of jail when you
Yeah.
were 19, almost 20.
Yeah. Yeah. So I got out of jail. I'm almost 20 years old, and I didn't really have a career. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I wanted to own my own roofing company because that's what my dad did. And, he was well on his way to become a millionaire and very, very successful, but just couldn't stay out of trouble. So I wanted to kind of follow his footsteps in that sense, minus the trouble. And I ended up roofing with other people's dads. My friends' dads owned roofing companies, and, I roofed for them for 10, 12 bucks an hour. I landscaped. I was a terrible mechanic. I broke more things than I actually fixed. So I tried all that stuff out for like 2 3. and obviously the money was not good. So one day I'm in a barber shop, and well, actually, let me back up a little bit. So I was sleeping on my friends' couches, right? Like, so I was to the point where I wasn't getting in trouble anymore, but I still was not successful. I still didn't have my head on my shoulders. I was making better decisions, but still not good decisions.
Right.
So, I had this friend, her name is Nikki, and, we were always really good friends. And, you know, we never liked each other like that, but, we were friends. I was sleeping on her couch. Like, I'd borrow her car. I was just that loser friend. So I ended up, we went to a party together, and, you know, of course we ended up hooking up one day, and it made things awkward. So we were like, well, now shit, this kind of ruins our friendship, so we're not going to really hang out anymore. So about a month and a half later, after we didn't talk at all, she told me she was pregnant.
Oh, wow.
So here I am with no real job. I'm getting paid under the table. I don't have a license. I don't have a car. I barely have a cell phone. It's getting turned off every month. And,
Somewhat fresh out of jail.
Yep, somewhat fresh out of jail. And she calls me up and she tells me that she's pregnant. So
Wow.
my heart dropped in my stomach. You know, I didn't know if it was mine, or I was kind of in denial. And I said, okay, I'm going to come to your work and we're going to talk about it. So I ended up having to give my brother $20 in gas to take me over there. The first thing she says when I get there, she's like, I won't make you pay child support. And I just couldn't help but crack up. So, we always had a good friendship, you know, but we could never be together. She's full-blown Italian. So if that just gives you any kind of idea, you know, there's no way that would have worked out. She's just, she's the boss, and that can't be. So long story short, I'm at the barber shop maybe a week after this, after she tells me she's pregnant. And my barber asked me how my day went. And you've seen my story on my barber, you know, and so this is what I'm kind of go off of.
Yeah.
So I'm at the barber shop, and my barber asked me how my day went. I'm covered in dirt from head to toe. And I'm like, you know, I'm doing good, man. You don't really want to hear my day. It was just a guy getting his hair cut, and that was it. So there was 4 of us in this barber shop.
Yeah.
So he's like, nah, man, like, come on. We got like 20 minutes. Tell me what's wrong. And I'm good friends with this guy. So I'm like, dude, I'm about to have a kid with a girl who I'm not with. You know, I don't have a real job. I don't have money. I don't have a driver's license. Like, my life is a mess. I can barely take care of myself. How in the hell am I going to take care of another person? Right. So I start breaking down to this guy, and I can see the guy who's sitting next to me getting his haircut kind of looking at me, listening, you know. And at the end of me telling my situation, and me basically almost being in tears and just being scared, everybody could tell I was scared in there, you know. Yeah. And the guy says to me, you know, I'm the general manager of a dealership, and I didn't mean to eavesdrop on you, but I would love for you to come, you know, sell cars with me. And, you know, make a lot of money and be able to support your kid. And I should have been appreciative. I should have been like, thank you so much, man. I'll come down ASAP. But I was like, I don't want to sell cars, man. I didn't say this out loud, but I thought this in my head. So I took the car, like, thank you so much. I stuck it in my pocket, and I never thought about it again.
Right.
So here's where it comes off of my post is I went back to my barber like 2 weeks later because I saw a post on Craigslist. Here I am trying to find jobs on Craigslist, and what am I going to do? And there was this credit card company. So before we all got the chips in our credit cards, so this was like 3.5, 4 years ago, I thought it would be a great idea to go around to businesses and sell them the machines that they were going to already have to buy anyway. You know, how simple is that? If every business needs it anyway, I'll go in there and I'll sell it to them. So the first place that I went to was my barber shop. So I go back to Sal, and I wait after he's done with a couple of haircuts. I'm waiting there for like an hour and a half. And finally gives me the time of day, and he's like, all right, Bill, what do you want to talk to me about? So I start to pitch him on this credit card machine. So he lets me talk to him for like 15, 20 minutes, doesn't really say a word. Towards the end, he's like on his phone texting. And I'm like, screw you, man. Like, you're not even listening to me. You know, like, you're just texting on your phone. And he's like, nah, I'm texting the guy who was in the barber shop and gave you his card that day. And I'm going to have him call me right now. And I was like, I got real mad. I'm like, dude, come on. Like, I don't want to sell cars. I don't even have a car. How am I going to get to work back and forth? I'm borrowing my mom's car right now as we speak. And just had all these excuses, all these shitty excuses. Sal would not let me give him an excuse, though. It was like I could not come up with an objection that he would not be able to overcome. Everything I threw at this guy, he's like, no, we'll do this. I told him I didn't have gas in my mom's car. He gave me $10 for gas. You know, I mean, every excuse I had, he would not let me make sure that was okay. So he's calling the guy, he's on the phone, and I'm like trying to reach for him and like swat the phone away. Me and Sal are really good friends, so I was like almost wrestling him at this point.
Right.
So he puts him on speakerphone. He's like, yeah, if he can come down now, we'll give him an interview. So here I am, and I'm giving him the excuse about the gas and all that stuff. He gives me the gas money, and I go down there. So I drive down to this dealership, and they interview me, and they liked me in the interview, and he said to me, okay, can I make a copy of your driver's license? And I said, my heart dropped again. And I'm like patting myself down like, oh crap, I forgot my driver's license. And the guy kind of, seriously, you forgot your license to a job interview? He's like, if you bring it tomorrow, you're hired. If you can't bring us your license, don't even come back. Just save us the time. So right away I like walk out of the dealership. I'm like, here we go. Nothing can ever go right. I call Sal right away and I'm like, he told me if I have a license, I'm hired, but I don't have a license. I have to go to Harrisburg, which is 2 hours away. And I have to get my license renewed. It's $75. I'm like, so I can't. Thank you for trying. I appreciate it. He's like, no, come to my house right now. And I'm like, what is this guy going to do? I go to his house. He gives me $75, gives me another $20 in gas. I drive to Harrisburg in my mom's car. And I get my license renewed, and it was like a 6-hour ordeal because it's 2 hours there. You know, nothing ever goes smooth when you're trying to get something like that. So it took another 2 hours there. I get back, I'm whooped, and now here I am. I'm going to start work tomorrow, selling cars at 8:30 a.m.
Wow.
So I go to work. I couldn't afford dress clothes, man. I had jeans. I had a pair of sneakers that had a hole in them. And I go to work, and I give the guy my license, first of all. First, he sees what I'm wearing, and he kind of looks me up and down. He's like shaking his head. But he takes my license, he makes a copy of it, and he comes back out and he goes, hey, buddy, did you know that this was issued yesterday? I'm like, oh, my gosh, nothing can go right. He's like, well, listen, dude, clearly you wanted this job, so you got it, but we got to do something about your clothes. So I tell him again. I feel like I've just been telling everybody lately, you know, I got no money, I got nothing. So he gives me his credit card and gives me the keys to his
Hold it.
He's like, go to Kohl's up the road.
Wait. This is the guy that just hired you?
The general manager of that dealership.
Gives you his credit card.
Gave me his credit card and the keys to his demo to go buy a pair of dress pants and a pair of dress shoes. Dude. So I go up the road to Kohl's. I get dress shoes and I get a pair of dress pants because I had a button-up shirt. And I come back and, well, actually, so when I'm holding the panic button to his car, I couldn't see it, but I could hear it. So I'm looking all around for this car and I laid eyes on it and it was love at first sight. It was a Hyundai Genesis.
Oh, God.
So I end up hopping in this car. It has the welcome chime. It has the heads-up display, the heated seats, the cooled seats, the panoramic sunroof. And, dude, I grew up as poor as could be, you know, and I'm like, they have this kind of stuff in cars? I couldn't believe it.
Right.
So
awesome.
I ended up telling myself as I'm driving, and I was blasting the music. I felt so cool. I'm driving. And I said to myself, I'm going to buy this car one day. I'm going to do whatever it takes, but I'm going to own this car. So I go to Kohl's. I get the clothes. I come back. I tell him that. I'm like, dude, I'm going to buy this car one day. So I ended up selling cars there, and their slogan is "When you're lost, you're here." So it's in the middle of cornfields. There is, I don't know what the population is like I know where I live, but it's probably 100th of what it is in Allentown. Bunch of rednecks, bunch of hillbillies, and I come from the city, so I started selling cars out there, and the first car that I ever sold, I did a video with because I knew if I was going to be successful selling cars, that I was going to have to bring my own people in. I was going to have a video recorded, posted on Facebook, and market myself. So I actually had a woman here today who took a screenshot of every single video I have on Facebook with a customer.
Is she still there? Is she still there?
No, she actually left. But she gave me.
Let's make her famous, man. Get her on.
Drive that she went and got. It's Wonder Woman, but this is where all my videos are with all the screenshots. So I'm going to make posters. And actually, just so you can see, we're by my desk, these 3 windows right here are going to be covered. Every square inch of that is going to be my screenshots of happy, smiling customers that I've sold a car to.
Dude.
So it's going to be insane, bro. I cannot wait for that.
That's awesome, man. That's incredible. What? So this was. So were you at a Hyundai dealership then?
Yeah, that's where I started at. Yep,
okay.
Hillsburg East and Hyundai.
Okay, so that was how long? That was
November of 2014 is when I got into the business. Is when I started selling cars.
Okay, and so November, that was just a couple years ago, dude.
Yeah, it was. I actually got hired shortly after I get hired, and I'm working hard, and I do videos with customers. I don't have any kids yet. I don't have a girlfriend yet. Nikki is pregnant with my son at the time, but to be honest with you, I didn't know if it was my kid. She swore it was mine, but it was summertime. We were friends.
Yeah.
I don't hate on her, having fun with other guys. It was what we did that summer. That was just the summer of fun. So I didn't know if he was mine or not. So I'm selling cars, and anybody who's watching this who sells cars knows that you cannot do it half-assed. You have you have to be obsessed with your craft. That goes for anything, but to be successful, you have to be obsessed with it. And I was not ready yet to be that mature or that grown up or to be that focused on my job. So I ended up getting fired in April of 2015. So they loved me, and but they said, Bill, you're coming in hungover, you're calling off, you're coming in late, you're falling. I fell asleep in one of the Genesis in the showroom because I was so hungover. Like, so embarrassing, dude. I was just not ready for it. I was not mature. I didn't have any kids yet, so it was just about me at that time. If I screwed up, looking back now, if I screwed up and if I was a loser, it only affected me. And not that that's okay, but if you're gonna screw up and be immature, that's the time before you have kids, before you have other people who rely on you. So I'm fired in April and my son is born in May. So I'm collecting unemployment while my son is born. For the first month that he was born, we didn't know if he was mine or not. So throughout this whole thing, she ended up not getting a paternity test, and obviously I wanted to know. I was cool either way. I said, well, I'll do respect to anybody, but if he wasn't my son, I was okay with it because now I had a second chance at life to kind of start a family the right way. But if he was my son, then obviously with my background with my father, I wanted to be the best dad that I possibly could be. So I ended up filing child support on myself as a loophole to court order a paternity test. Because if paternity is an issue, then they court order a paternity test. So if she wouldn't do one, that was the only way that I could force one. So, and it's so crazy because at domestics, they don't even know how to have it as the dad filing child support. So I looked, and I get confused all the time. I was the one getting child support filed on me because I guess it's so rare that they don't do it like that.
Yeah.
So I was a little pissed off about that, but that wasn't the point. That didn't really matter. But so
let's back up for just a quick second. I want to back up to the video thing that you're posting on those windows, and let's talk about that. I want to expand on that just a little bit.
Yeah.
So you started selling cars, and tell me about this because look, I'm transparent as hell. Bill started talking about it earlier before we went live, and I said, "What are you talking about, dude?" He goes, "You haven't even seen one of my dash cam confession videos or whatever it's called." And I'm
Dashboard Diaries.
there you go. I said, no, dude. And we've been friends for a while on Facebook.
Yeah.
But dude, there's so much content, and Facebook controls the algorithm, right? So I haven't seen it. Well, I'm gonna go check it out. But let's talk about that because I wanna make some points about that. So what was it you intuitively knew? I gotta create these videos.
Yeah, so with the slogan being, if you lost your hair, I knew, and just because I shadowed a salesman for 2 weeks before I sold cars. So I saw, I got to just observe and see, how much traffic comes in, how many cars we're selling. And at this franchise, we sold about 60 to 70 cars a month. So, and there was like 6 or 7 sales guys, and once I sold my first car, I made a lot of money compared to what I would have if I was roofing or landscaping. I couldn't believe it.
Right.
So literally from the first car that I ever sold, it was addicting to the point to where I gotta sell more cars. I gotta do whatever I can to sell cars. So, and I was pretty popular on social media at the time, while still being a loser. I was pretty active on social media. Knew how to use it because I grew up with a phone in front of my face.
Yeah.
So with Snapchat and with Facebook and with Instagram and with all, I was very active on it. So I thought, okay, I can bring these people who I talk to and associate with from there and have them come buy a car for me. Everybody in the world needs a car. So that's why I love selling cars. I don't care how old you are. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what you believe in. I don't care what your religion is. I can sell you what I sell.
Right.
So that made it very easy for me to market myself on Facebook and to be very active and to kind of control my own destiny. So, it was like, so even before I got fired, they were impressed with my ability to bring people in on my own. I wasn't too good of a closer. I don't think anybody really is a great closer from the second they come in, but, I learned it very quickly on how to ask people for their business the right way instead of being that stereotypical car guy. I just learned to flat out say, listen, you have a problem and you're here because you want me to solve it in some way or fashion. So, what's stopping us from me solving your problem? And when you just simply ask people that question, my career just, it just kind of took off. At the same time it was taking off, then it crashed and burned to the ground because I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do.
Well,
So
you started this dashboard diaries thing. What is that? What do you do with it?
So first of all, I want to apologize because if you don't know what that is absolutely my fault and not your fault. So I apologize for that.
That's true.
But
It is your fault.
so I did about 100, maybe 200 videos outside of the car. So it
Okay.
evolved to because one day I had these two women. They did not want to do a video with me, and I did a great job selling them a car, and they loved me, but they just did not want to do a video. So I found out the real reason was because they were nervous about somebody recording them. I would have one of my coworkers or my manager record us in front of their car, and they were too shy. So I said, let's just grab the camera. Let's just hop inside the car. It's just us. Let's have it face us and just push record and just tell the camera your story. So when I did that, man, the quality was phenomenal. You could actually hear them. It was, hey, this is Bill Hav from Phillipsburg East and Hyundai. These are my newest customers, blah, blah, blah. How was your experience? It was good. Okay, would you refer us to your friends and family? Yes. Okay, thank you so much. That's what they were standing outside. When I brought the camera inside, oh my gosh, everybody just opens up. You know, they say I had no money down. I didn't think it was possible. Bill Hav made it possible. He explained everything from start to finish. I'm leaving in a car I never expected to be leaving in at a monthly payment that is phenomenal with $0 down. Thank you so much, Bill. You know, so the
Dude.
first one ever, bro, it got like 5,000 views. And this was 3.5 years ago, you know, so 5,000 views to me then was like 100,000. So,
That's
it was
insane.
phenomenal. I tagged him in it. I ended up selling, like, still to this day, I sell them referrals. You know, I sold like 5 cars from that one video. And ever since then, I have just continued to do them. And now I just found out today the exact number. I've been lying a little bit. I've been promoting 700 plus, but I just found out today is 656 dashboard diaries officially.
That's okay. So I want to make and you may have I'm not sure how you framed this in your head when you decided to do it. Sorry about my lighting, by the way. I could turn this way.
There
That's
you go.
terrible.
They're
But
all good. It don't matter. I can see you good, man.
yeah. So the one of the things that Grant talks about, and anybody that's worth their salt in life knows that if you want more out of life, you've got to give to others. You've got to flow power, is what Grant says. Flow power to others. Flow power to power, right? So who's got the power when you're selling cars? Your customers, right? So
Absolutely.
you intuitively knew that if you just put them on camera and you post this out with them talking about it, like it's gonna make them look like, really cool to their friends and family, and it puts you in a great light. So dude, that my hat's off to you. Literally, my hat is off to you. Go Steelers.
All right, here we go. I gotta show you guys this. I'm a diehard Steelers fan. I
Steelers
got it
fan.
right over my heart, baby. Die hard.
So 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 the so you intuitively knew that you needed to put your customers in the light, so to speak. And dude, that's phenomenal. So let's talk about so you've done 600 and how many? 56 you said? 6.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably well over 800, but those are just the ones that were on Facebook. So she went on my
Okay.
Facebook and went through all the videos and ended up screenshotting all of those. So that's not to mention the ones that I have on my phone that never got edited, that never got posted. People who didn't want me to post it on Facebook, you know. So there's probably well over 800 in total, but actually posted on my Facebook that are documented. 56.
Wow, that's incredible, man. And those are people, all those people bought a car from you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
That's insane, man. That's crazy. And you've only been doing it for a few years.
Yeah. I mean, 4 years this November, but I was fired for 6 months of those. So 3.5 years this November is how long I've been
That's
selling cars for.
that's unbelievable. So tell everybody where you are now. Where you're not at the Hyundai dealership that you got fired from, obviously.
Right. Well, they actually brought me back a couple months later after that.
Oh,
So then that is when I really consider myself selling cars. That was in August of 2015. So April, May, June, July, August. So 5 months I was fired. They brought me back in August, and my son was born now, obviously. So I have a 3-month-old son, and I know he's mine now.
yeah.
I was dating Claire, and found out she was pregnant that same month in August. I found out I was having a second child.
Wow.
So that was literally the turning point. I got goosebumps right because I remember the feeling it was yesterday was I said to myself, am I allowed to swear on your podcast?
Sure.
I said to myself, no more fucking around, Bill. I
Right.
cannot mess around and I cannot. Now it doesn't just affect me. If I want to become a loser, if I want to go to jail, if I want to have no money, if I want to have no cell phone, that affects me. But when you have children, it obviously now affects them. And now I had Claire to take care of because she was pregnant and she stopped working immediately. I know that wasn't necessary, but I took pride in that.
Yeah.
You know, so she stopped working and I just worried about the financials. So obviously when you sell cars, if you don't sell cars, you don't make money. You know, and the only way you make a lot of money is if you sell a lot of cars. So I took it to the next level, man. And that was when I've given away 3 cars to 3 families in need in my life. This year will be my 4th. Every year at Christmas time, I give a car away. I gave away a $5,000 car last Christmas that everybody helped me raise. I donated the first $1,500 into a GoFundMe account. And I reached out to my community and I asked everybody to donate $20. And I could not believe people donated, man. People donated $250. Ali Rita donated, the guy who sold the most cars in the entire world. Donated to my GoFundMe account. I mean, Glenn Lundy, Sean Hayes.
Ali is the man. I mean,
He
that
really
guy
is. He really is, man.
Holy crap. So
he's so cool and so cool, man.
Yeah, I keep saying I'm not even in the car business, man, but Frank Lopes is one. I love that dude. He's a good friend of mine,
Yeah.
and
He's
he's
a
like,
solid
bro.
dude.
Oh yeah, he keeps saying, bro, you are in the car business. We've adopted you. Like, whatever, man. So, but like so dude, you're killing it. I'm trying to do the math. I mean, that's like 800 cars or so that you've sold in 3.5 years. That's a lot of cars, man.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, I wish that every customer I sold a car to did a video with me, you know, but some get away without doing a video with me.
Wow.
So I'm 1,000 cars. I don't know exactly how many because this is my 3rd store. My first one was Hyundai. And then when they brought me back, I got recruited by the store right up the road that sold 300 cars compared to 60. So they recruited me. They promised me to pay for my billboard. They gave me a demo, you know, and things that I was never used to. So I took that offer and then I started selling a lot of cars at Honda. That was where I sold 31 and a half cars one month with no fresh ups. That was all from Facebook, all referrals, you know, so that was actually last September. And, this
Dude,
past February.
for the people watching that don't know what an up is, can you?
Yeah, sorry. So an up
That's
is a
all right.
customer. So if a customer comes in the lot and they're not working with anybody, they're not looking for any biz specifically, then that's called a fresh up. You know, so no fresh ups means every car I sold, they came here looking for me. They walked in and said, I'm here to see Bill Hav. So that's just the power of social media. You know, everybody constantly, all day, every day, man, including myself, is staring at their phone. So that's where I want to be at. You know, I want to be, you know, on there. Hold on. Here we go. My phone hit a button.
Oh, you're okay. I still see you.
Okay, cool.
And hear you.
Awesome.
So let me ask you this. And you know, we have some big time similarities, except for I didn't barely almost not graduate high school. I actually did not graduate high school. I walked out in 12th grade. They said you didn't get a biology credit in 10th grade, and I'm like, well, what the hell am I going to need that for in real life? Like,
that's so true. Yeah.
If I would have liked biology, I probably wouldn't have failed the class, and I would have gotten the credit. So I don't need it. So let's roll.
Yeah.
They wouldn't do it. But anyway, like, you know, let's talk about, you know, because of all of the bad decisions I made and the tough choice, you know, the consequences and you know, sometimes it's, you know, when somebody starts crying about how they can't do this or they have a negative attitude or like, I don't have empathy sometimes for like, do you find yourself like going, dude, just man up and freaking figure it out, like get to work? Do you ever feel like that?
Yeah, I mean, now that I got promoted a couple months ago to be a floor manager here, I mean, so I'm in charge of all the sales guys, and I'm still selling cars.
Yeah.
So as of recently, especially because I try to give them my advice and tell them what to do, and then there's excuses of, you know, well, I can't do this because of this, you know, and it's just like, come on, bro, you want to hear what I had to do in order to get in the car business and to actually be successful at it, you know? So it's kind of cool. It's cool to be on the other side of that.
Yeah.
It
I mean,
definitely.
I've never sold cars, but like it amazes me that there are actually salespeople sitting in dealerships all across the world waiting on people to walk in.
Especially with what we have nowadays.
Like, dude,
It's
what?
hard
Like,
to believe.
go stand on the corner and freaking jump in front of a crappy car and say, "Hey, come here, I gotta talk to
Yeah.
you about something, man." Like I don't know, like
Yeah.
get attention, spin a sign. I don't
Right.
know, right? Like there's got to be ways to go out and get people to come and talk to you, and social media. You're right.
Well, that's the biggest way. I mean, personally, I actually did what you're saying one time. I stood on the side of the highway because my dealership was right there. So I held a sign that said, must sell 3 cars today to keep my job. And a 99 Jetta pulled over and they were like, what does your sign say? And I actually they knew somebody who I sold a car to because they saw my videos. So
Right,
they asked me how much I would give them for their trade, and I told them $1,000. So they were like, if you give me $1,000 for this right now and I get approved, I'll buy a car. And wouldn't you believe it, bro? They left in a 14 Sentra. They traded their Jetta and we gave them $1,000
dude,
for it. And I sold the car that way. But I would
with
never
a
do that again
sign.
because there's social media with a sign
Yep,
and they wanted to know what it said. And so they knew that I sold the car to their friend before on Facebook from a video. So that was one of
dude.
my best accomplishments in the
Somebody
car
on
business anyway.
Eric Cornelius is on here. He says, "Jump in front of a car. Great advice." But I'm just saying, like it's my point is there are people who are successful in life and there are people who live on excuses in life. I truly don't believe that there's anything in between. And it doesn't mean that you become a success overnight, but the sooner you can get through living on excuses, the faster you're going to freaking go up in life. Would you agree with that or not?
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah.
So
I love Grant Cardone's, success is my duty, my obligation, and my responsibility. I mean, that just
yep,
sums it all up right there. If you're not successful, it's your fault.
that's right. That's right. Scott Simons is on here. I love that dude, man. He said great interview and life story of Bill. Dude,
Thank you, Scott.
Ali Nasser. Why do I know his name? I know that dude.
Bro, that's the owner of my dealership. That's my
Oh,
boy. That's my best friend right there, Ali
for
Nasser.
real? Dude,
Yeah, man.
why am I not friends with Ali on Facebook? What's up with
Dude,
that, man?
starting
So
to make me think you hit the unfollow button on my Facebook.
I probably did, man. You're borderline annoying. I'm just kidding,
I'm
dude.
used
No,
to it,
I
bro.
did.
I'm used to it.
No, I didn't.
People either love me or they hate me. There's no in the
Dude,
middle,
let me tell you how it is with me, man. It's black or white. I, I,
Yeah.
I, I don't like. It's like this. If I don't like somebody, I just block them. I don't
Right.
unfollow people. Just so you
Yeah.
know.
Well, I unfollow people if they're not, because it would cost me too much money if I unfriended everybody. I'm in the business to sell cars to referrals. So I
Yeah,
don't want them to see that I unfriended them. So the
yeah,
unfollow button is my favorite button out there because if they're negative, if they're just day, if they're just, posting
yeah.
stupid things all day, I don't got time for that, man. My Facebook
No,
feed is like my college. I'm
that's
seeing
right.
guys like you on my news feed. I'm seeing guys like, Anthony Alagono on my news feed who are motivational. I'm seeing guys like
Yeah,
Frank Lopes. I'm seeing guys like Ali Rita. I'm seeing
yeah.
those kind of people on my Facebook. I don't got time for people who are, you know,
That's it, dude.
bitching about stupid
No,
shit. So,
no. Richard Trevino is making comments, but Ken will unfriend and block you.
yeah.
But dude, I'm not like look, I took I started learning about this stuff from Grant about no negativity
Yeah.
and clearing people out of your life that are holding you back. And so I took it to heart. And when I see somebody, especially if somebody comes at me with anything like, dude, you're gone. Like I don't,
Yeah.
you can be my dad. I don't care. You're out.
Right.
I don't care who it is. Like, so, and so I want to talk about like, when you see people that are stuck, you've been there, I've been there, we've all been there. What do you think, in your opinion, is the number one thing that keeps people stuck in life?
That's a good question, man. When you ask me that, the first thing that comes to my mind is it was my birthday. My birthday is March 20th, and this was 4 or 5 years ago. And I remember I was just so down on myself on my birthday because I had I felt like I had nobody, no friends, no family. I didn't get a birthday text. I didn't get a birthday call. I didn't get any presents, you know. So what kept me stuck was feeling like personally was that I was all alone, that I had nobody. So when I started going to work every day and started becoming responsible, and then I started to have work friends, and then I started to have customers, and then I started to have like a team of people, like a support group. That to me is really my funk, and you all the company you keep, you know. So to answer your question, I would say what keeps people in a funk is not hanging out with people who are successful or who are, you know, go-getters, or people who are gonna, you know, lift you up and not hang out with you and tell you that's a good idea when they know it's not. That's what got me out of it, was being around successful people and people like taking me under their wing and saying, Bill, like this is what you got to do to be successful, you know. And honestly, having my son Julian too, I mean, that was huge for me. So I don't know if
But
I would
but
have.
I I mean, let's just be real though, dude. I mean, you were in jail for 14 months at 18 years old,
Yeah,
and I know that you saw people in there that had kids at home that really
plenty.
didn't give
Yeah,
a crap about them, right? So
yeah,
those like there are people that yeah, they have kids, but that's not the motivation, you know. And maybe it is a motivator for you, and
right,
as it is for me. But at the end of the day, it's
right.
something deeper than that. And you
Yeah,
know, I think that like if somebody came to you and said, "Dude, look, here's the deal. My electric's getting shut off tomorrow. My car was repoed last week. My business is in a spiral, or my whatever. Like they're stuck. What are you going to say to that person that's going to motivate them, that's going to get them out of that place and into, because again, you can help them financially, but that isn't necessarily the answer either.
right. Yeah. So one of my favorite sayings is from 50 Cent, and he says, "Joy wouldn't feel so good if it wasn't for pain." So, I mean, it wouldn't feel like my story would not be so good if I was, you know, if I didn't have any struggles in life. So what I would tell them is that it becomes addictive to do good. It's like going to the gym, or it's like saving money.
Yep.
Clearly, if anybody has a picture on, you know I don't go to the gym, so I should take my own advice in this sense. But when you start to go to the gym, as an example, and the first 2 weeks you don't really see results, you're just sore, you're hurting, you get up, you don't want to go to the gym. But as soon as you start to see results, you start to see your abs a little bit chiseled, you know, then it becomes addictive. Or when you're saving money and you have no money saved, you save that first $1,000 or $2,000, it's not that much money, but then you see 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, it becomes addictive. So
Yep.
right now, if I'm talking to you and you're down in the dumps and your car's about to get repoed, I'm going to tell you these next couple of weeks, couple of months are going to suck. They're not going to be fun. But joy wouldn't feel so good if it wasn't for pain, because in 3 months or 4 months from now, when you see that you got yourself out of this hole, it's going to become addictive. So
Yep.
what you need to do is you need to suck it up, do whatever it takes to work, do jobs you don't want to do, be comfortable with being uncomfortable, get that taken care of, and it becomes addictive, and you will become successful as long as you stay with that mindset and you hang out with people who are going to support you, who are going to help you, who are going to uplift you, and know that, you know, they got your back. Because that meant a lot to me, was other people having my back.
Chris Saraceno wrote a book called The Theory of Five,
Yeah.
and it's an amazing book, and he interviews a lot of amazing people. And I've had Chris on the show. He's freaking unbelievable. But you know, like, it's true, man. Like, you want to immediately change your life. I had a long conversation with a friend of mine. I drove 13 hours yesterday, so like I had some time I'm listening to Zig Ziglar and some Grant Cardone and some, you know, I'm talking on the phone a lot, but I was telling I told a buddy of mine this, man, like you've got to change the people you're hanging out with, the people that you have in your life and your business and your,
Yeah.
like, you got to change that, man, because that is probably the most powerful thing in life.
Absolutely, 100%. If you take top five hang out with daily and you average their incomes, within 6 months, that is guaranteed to be your income.
Yep.
You're not going to be hanging out with five doctors, you know,
Yep.
if you're jobless. You know, I mean, if you're homeless, you're going to be hanging out with five people who are homeless as well.
Yep.
So, I
It's
mean, you
true.
start to hang out with people who are successful, you know, then as long as you have that fire in your belly, you
Yep.
will be too. It's a 100% fact.
And dude, I think that you're, you made a valid point. I, and again, I heard a story listening to Zig driving yesterday about the Chinese bamboo tree, and that
I love that
they,
story.
you know the story, right? So
Yeah, yeah,
they plant a seed, they water it the first year and fertilize it, nothing happens. Second year they water it, and it goes on every year. The fourth year, water, fertilizer, nothing happens. Same seed. 5 years later, they water it, they
yep,
fertilize it, and then within a 4 to 6 month period, that bamboo tree will shoot
yeah,
up to 90 feet tall. So like
yeah.
it's crazy, man. And people,
Such a great analogy.
it really is, man, because
Yeah,
people do that. I've done it. You've done it, where you're like,
yeah,
dude, I just put in freaking 3 weeks of hard work at the dealership and nothing's happening. Why is this Ali Rita guy making all the news, and he's the rock star? I should be the rock star. What the hell, right? So you walk around
yeah,
feeling entitled. And that's a big issue in this world, man. People are not willing to, put in the work and be a little, just be a little bit patient, man. Like it's coming, but you got to keep chopping
yeah.
away.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely, man.
Dude, you're doing it, man. You're doing it. So what's up? What's coming up next for you, man? You writing a book?
I'm writing a book, but I do plan on doing the craziest car giveaway that I've ever done before come this December. It
The
does take a
what?
long time, though. What was that?
What'd you say? The craziest what?
Car giveaway. So I've given
Ferrari?
away 3 cars before in my lifetime. The first car that I gave away was my personal car. I was driving to work and I had like a 45-minute drive and I'm like, what can I do, man, to like become the most known trusted vehicle advisor ever? And
Wow,
I was
dude.
like, dude, if I give away a car, that would be pretty crazy. So then I'm like, well, shit, I don't have the money to give away a car. I can barely afford the ramen noodles that I'm eating now. And I was like, I'm going to give
Wow.
away my car. So I give away my personal car. And me and my fiance now, she wasn't my fiance at the time, but we shared a car then for a couple months until I was able to buy another car.
Dude, that's
And
awesome, man.
now 4 years later, here I am driving a Genesis. So I don't know if I even told you that, but the car that I drive right now is the same exact car that he gave me to go to Kohl's because it was a demo.
Dude.
So I ended up buying that car with 10,000 miles on it, and my car payment is outrageous, but that's another thing too that makes me not lazy and makes me have to come to work or call that person when I don't want to call them is because I have an astronomical car payment every month. But pressure equals prosperity.
It
So when you
does.
have pressure and when you have bills and you have a family to support, there's no more, hey boss, I don't feel like coming to work today. Or, hey, I don't feel like calling that person. No, now you have to. There's no choice. I mean, there is a choice. You could either,
Yeah.
take a nosedive straight into the ground when it comes to your career, or you can, man up and do what it takes to be able to support your family and to have the nice things that you want in life. But that was a cool feeling, man. When I went to Honda, 3 months later, I was able to go back to Hyundai where I left and
Yeah.
buy his demo that was parked. So that was an awesome feeling. And
And that,
real quick before we end up getting off of here, I'm sure some people are wondering how I went from Hyundai to Autoproof now. But I came here on February 1st, and it was a lot different than what it is now. And the guy who you didn't know who he was, Ali Nasser, he
yeah,
is the owner of the dealership, and he's 27 years old, man, and he's self-made.
dude, that's
So
awesome.
that guy inspires me every day, and I'm 26. So we were
Wow.
a match made in heaven. So as of February 1st until now, that's why you see so much drastic change, in
That's
our
awesome,
dealership. Not
dude.
not you because you want to follow me on Facebook, but for everybody else who's watching here,
Yeah.
who's seeing the drastic changes from February until
Dude,
now, man. It's been
I'm
so awesome.
about to unfollow you. Keep that. I'm just playing. No, I just blocked you, man. Thanks for being on the show. You're blocked. I'm kidding, dude.
Please
So
don't do
like,
that.
I gotta tell you though, like you said, my car payment's astronomical, but like, Jim Ziegler was on the show, and Jim is a legend in the car business, and I heard him on Lisa Copeland's show, and Jim said, Jim, he made a statement that I was like, dude, he's 1,000% right. He said, you can sell your way out of anything. You can sell your way out of anything. You got a high car payment. You got what? I used to tell all my salespeople when I'd hire them, like, dude, you want to know what'll motivate the crap out of you? Go get a Mercedes. Go get something that's way out of your price range, man. So you can go like
Yeah.
it'll force you or it'll destroy you, one of the two. But hey,
Right. Right.
right? But
Yeah.
you can sell your way out of anything, Jim Ziegler, man, and that's so true,
Yeah, man. Absolutely.
so true. Well, dude, so you've got some real so you got a big giveaway coming in December.
Yeah.
You're giving
Yeah. It's
away
gonna be the
five
biggest.
cars.
It's gonna be the biggest car giveaway ever. I can't give away 5 cars, maybe 2. I
Wow.
still have to wrinkles with Ollie, but we have a crazy plan in place. Because when he actually brought me on board, so I left Phillipsburg Easton Honda, where I was, selling 25, 30 cars a month on my own there and had it made.
Yeah.
I ended up leaving there to come to an independent dealership where their store record was 68 cars or 63 cars in 1 month.
Yeah.
So last month we sold 83 cars. Or I'm sorry, not last month. The month before we sold 83 cars my 5th month here. So
Wow.
that was like a 23% increase or whatever the real numbers are. But I mean, we're going to be doing some big things. But part of how he got me to leave there to come here was because of him, first and foremost, as the owner.
Yeah.
But then he also threw in a sign-on bonus and a marketing budget. So not many
That's
people I
awesome.
know, man, would be willing to invest in their salesman like that, and
Yeah.
he's just the greatest guy you'll ever meet. But he invested in me and he gave me a marketing budget. So that's how I got the billboard. That's how I got the videographer. That's how I got all of these things to be able to help me sell as many cars. But I have a nice chunk of that budget saved for the car giveaway. So I'm going to use some of his marketing money. I'm going to match it with my own money. And then I'm going to ask the community to help me out and continue to donate. So, I mean,
That's
my goal
awesome, dude.
is crazy. It's a $10,000 car is my goal.
Yeah.
Something that would take a family who walks to the grocery store and walks back with groceries in the wintertime, to give
Yeah.
them the nicest car they've ever owned is my goal.
That's
But
awesome,
maybe
bro.
two $5,000 cars. So we
That's
don't know
awesome.
what yet, but it's going to be cool.
Well, and one of the things that I know, because I have I have friends that are incredibly wealthy, and one of the common denominators among very successful, happy, and wealthy people, and I'm not saying success is equated to your wealth because it's not. I think it's more about how happy are you. But to quote my 8-year-old daughter, she said, "Daddy, we have to be rich if we want to feed the poor." So,
That's so
like,
true, bro.
and she said it. I'm like,
Yeah,
Dad, who are you? Like, that's awesome. But like,
yeah,
like, dude, the people that are happiest and most successful in this life or in any life, are the people who are most giving.
yeah.
And that's one thing I see about you, man. You're definitely giving. You like to help other people, so that's awesome. Dude, we're at the end of the hour and my battery's about dead, and I, of course, left my laptop charger over here in my bag. But hey, listen, thank you for coming on the show, taking the time. I really appreciate it. You're a good dude. How can everybody follow you, man?
Yeah, so thank you so much for having me, man. I'm honored to be on your show with the people that have been on your show in the past. I always watch it, so to be in
Awesome.
that same category of people is pretty amazing. So thank you. If
Yeah.
you want to go onto my Facebook page, you can follow me there. My business page is Bill Hav Auto Approved, so you can go on there and give that a like and follow all the funny, cool videos that we do. Because we hired a full-time videographer, we come up with a whole bunch of skits, and we just did a cheated video where if you've ever seen the show Cheaters back in the day,
Yeah.
we redid that with customers who cheat on their salesmen. So it
Wow.
is so awesome. It's exactly like the actual show. I'm still waiting on Ollie to release the video. I think he's going to make a couple small tweaks, but we released the trailer. So go
That's
check that
awesome.
out.
That's
And
awesome.
you can just use the hashtag. If you have to have it, Bill Hav has it, and you'll find all my stuff there.
Dude, that's awesome, man. That is totally awesome. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time. Thank you. Thank you to everybody on Facebook for, I keep seeing, that's why I keep looking over here at my iPad, which is sitting right there. But
Yeah,
I keep
I'm
seeing
doing the
people
same thing.
that shared it.
I
Yeah,
keep
right.
I
I
keep looking
have,
at the comments
I
and
have
reading
that
it, checking them
too.
out.
I have
Yeah,
that too, man. So thank you to everybody who shared this out. Thank
yeah.
you
Thank you so much.
yeah, thank you for everybody. make sure you're following Bill. Go send him a friend request, follow him, get on his business page. Hell, drive to Pennsylvania and buy a car from him, because I feel like after getting to know you a little bit better, I feel like if there were any problems, you'd handle them. So
100%. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
absolutely.
Go buy a car from Bill today. Even if you don't need one, buy one anyway. You know somebody that needs one, buy one from him. All right, hey, we'll catch you guys later. See you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much, Bill. Appreciate you, man. Have a great day.
All right. Thank you, buddy. You too. Thank you
All
guys
right.
for watching.
See you guys.